Hey everybody, I'm Karyn Bryant.
What's up, everyone? Alan Jouban here.
Welcome to the MMA Heat podcast. So we were on vacation last week. I just got back from Mexico last night. I had an awesome time. I'm feeling good. I got to get back at it and right to work. But Alan, you were supposed to have been fighting yesterday in Germany. Everybody knows by now, obviously, that didn't happen. So what's the story? What's the update? How you feeling?
Yeah, it was weird watching the card. First off, man, it's so weird watching a fight that you should have been in.
Right.
Yeah, it was a weird one. But I stayed up I stayed up. I got up and made sure I watched at least the fight that I was supposed to be in. But my situation, my neck's still about the same. I went through some steroid pills that was supposed to help with the inflammation. Didn't really do the job. The next step is to do an epidural in the neck, and so I'm going in tomorrow to talk to the doctor and see if that's the process we're going to take. So kind of a step-by-step thing. We're doing as many things as we can to avoid surgery, and that's what I want to do is avoid surgery. But we're at step one didn't work with the pills, so hopefully something happens with the epidural in the neck sometime this week.
And it's bulge discs, you said?
Yeah, 2 bulge discs and 2 bone spurts. I think the bone spurts is just more of the nature of my job.
Right.
But the bulge disc is what happened when I injured my neck about 2 weeks ago. So I'm just it sucks and it's a pain in the butt, but it's something that once the inflammation is gone, I could ease back into training and get right back into it. So I'm just wanting that to happen. That way I could I don't want to keep pushing the dates back. I'd like to get back to training as soon as possible.
Right, but yeah, ideally, what's the timeline? Like, how quickly could that all get resolved if the epidural helps and that kind of stuff?
Ideally, if I go and get an epidural, let's say Friday, and boom, it's gone by Saturday, I'm feeling good. I can go back to training on Monday.
Oh wow!
He said I would ease into it. He said obviously the first 2 weeks it'll be a bit more sensitive, but I could go back to running and maybe doing some lighter type stuff. I wouldn't have anybody guillotining me just right away, but I could at least start priming my body, which then I could give the UFC a date and a timeline and say, look, I'm back to training. I'm down to fight anytime within the next 4 to 6 weeks or something like that.
Yeah.
Because ideally, I kind of, after going through an 8 to 10 week camp and not getting the fight, I don't want to go through another timeline. I'm willing to jeopardize having a long camp. I'd rather do a shorter camp if possible. With the UFC right now, it's kind of up in the air. The way they book fights. But yeah, I'd rather do a short camp and just jump in there healthy rather than possibly get injured on a longer camp.
Right. And it's funny because I'm sure people are wondering, like you said, they gave you steroid pills and stuff. Like how careful do you have to be? Look at you, he's yoked.
They're working.
Does your doctor communicate? Does he get a list of substances on the USADA list? Like how do you even make sure that you don't accidentally take something that's going to make you feel better, but that is on the banned list?
Yeah, sorry, broke up a second. Yeah, when he told me it, he goes, but don't worry, this isn't anything that would be like performance enhancing or that you can get in trouble for. And I go, yeah, I get it. I mean, I know something probably could be brought up with maybe from the stuff they prescribe me, but it's all anti-inflammatory type stuff. And honestly, the UFC doctor, the head doctor over there, I think his name is Dr. Davidson.
Right.
He's the one that recommended me to go to this doctor and get the treatment, and then this is what's trickling from it. So I hope I don't get in any type of trouble, but I'm only following the doctor's orders that the head doctor of the UFC prescribed me.
Yeah, and anyway, the word steroid is kind of a more all-encompassing thing anyway. You know what I mean? It means more than just, like you said, juicing up so you can be an Eastern European bodybuilder.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, it's funny because like I said, we were on vacation, and so I watched some of the fights, and I know it was like a really incredibly long card. They said I guess it's now the 5th longest card because there was 10 decisions on that one. But I did, wonder when I was looking at, going through the hot chocolate fight, that's your opponent, and that mostly played out on the canvas, which it didn't sound like was his ideal fight plan, and I'm certain it would have been a totally different fight with you. But what were you thinking when you watched him fight?
Oh man, that was a hard one to watch, Karyn. I'm not being a hater right here. I'm not, but it was sloppy. It was a sloppy fight, and the way that I was training and the focus that I had the entire camp and the preparations and the things that we were working on, the counter, what he was going to bring to the table, I didn't think it was Danny's best fight. I thought he didn't perform at his best. I was expecting to meet the best Danny. And I honestly, in my heart, believe if he would have brought that to the table the night that we would have fought, and I wouldn't have gotten injured, I would have put him to sleep 100%. I was seeing things coming very vividly on TV that we worked on a counter over and over and over and over. And I'm seeing him do it while I'm watching, thinking, wow, it looks sloppy. Yeah. And then there was exchanges on the ground that were just really sloppy. His opponent was a good opponent, but he didn't know anything about positional dominance or momentum in fights. He would get on top, and he would go for like a low-risk position, and then Danny would sweep him. And then they would sweep back and forth, and they kept exchanging positions. And I was like, why are these guys giving up dominant position to go for low percentage moves? Right. I would have been like in the mount position dropping elbows, but they were kind of going for like weird stuff. And the scrambles, a lot of times in the 50-50 scrambles, one guy was just falling to the back. So I wasn't impressed with the fight. And my coaches all hit me up right away. I thought I was crazy, but they were like, dude, you would have smoked them, dude. Like none of my coaches were impressed. But like you said, the card was such a yawner, such a sleeping card, that it ended up getting fight of the night because it was such a sloppy fight that it made it exciting in some ways. So all in all, props to both men. I'm the one that got injured. I'm not hating on them. They went out there, they performed, they got their money. Congratulations to them. But it was tough for me to watch, knowing that I would have taken out both of those guys in my mind. And if I didn't take one of them out, I definitely would have got the fight of the night bonus because I know I'm more exciting than both of them in my mind. And I didn't think they were even that exciting. I thought it was just kind of sloppy, to be honest. But when you have a card that underperforms, it's a lot easier to get those bonuses.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, you know, that's the whole thing is you bring a totally different style. So, you know, for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. He could have been a totally different fighter that night against you. Like you said, so. but you know, like you said, not trying to be a hater. He seems like a good dude, and I think, you know, at least afterwards too, is he, you know when a fighter's like, I know that's not what you guys came here to see. Like when you know, he obviously felt it too, that wasn't the fight he even wanted to come there and put on. So you know, that's how it is. But I did notice too, as I said, going through this stuff with Stefan Struve, I didn't get to see. Maybe you can tell me what happened. I didn't get to see what it was that opened up the second mouth on his face. But when I was watching, I was like, man, Stefan's just on his back. He just was on his back like so much of the fight. And he's always been a fighter to me that I don't understand why he doesn't know how to use his length better, use that jab. I don't, you know, it's kind of frustrating sometimes. He's a great guy, and I really, really like him. But it's frustrating to watch him sometimes not use the natural gifts that I think he has. But I don't know exactly. Do you know what it was that opened up his face?
Yeah, it was an elbow. I think, if I remember, it came from either ground and pound, like you said. He was getting taken down a lot, or it might have been against the cage. But nonetheless, he's a guy that gets picked on a lot about what you just mentioned about not using his range and his height to his advantage, and he brings it upon himself. He's a 7-foot-tall striker who I think he comes from like a Dutch kickboxing type background, and he doesn't utilize his range whatsoever. I think I heard him say something about at the end of the fight he's thinking about maybe taking some time off. Not sure if this is what he wants to do anymore. And when you hear guys say that, you know their heart's really not into it, or you know it could have been an emotional statement. But I think that he's been on a bit of a losing streak. His heart's not quite in it. And let's not forget, this is the second time that's happened. A couple years ago, do you remember when he had that medical issue? He had to step away from the sport.
Yeah, his heart. Yeah, he had a bad heart condition. His jaw once got broken by Mark Hunt. I mean, the dude has been through it.
He's been through a lot of stuff. He's had a rough road. And I don't mean to, you know, kick a guy when he's down, but I feel like he's not, like you said, he's not utilizing these God-given gifts that he has. He's the bigger, taller, rangier man in every single fight he has ever had in his entire life, but he fights at the equal advantage of his opponent. The same length of his opponent is the length, the range that he fights at. He doesn't utilize his advantage on that, and he gets taken down quite a bit. So I enjoy watching him fight, but I don't feel like we're seeing the best Stefan Struve anymore. Yeah. So with that said, if he does decide, maybe it's time to move on, I wouldn't be upset with it. And again, I don't mean this in a I'm tired of him way, but if we're not seeing him fight to his capabilities and he's not happy with his performance, then it is the right decision, possibly stepping away.
Yeah, I agree, and it's funny because again, not to make light of it, but I'm in my head, I'm like, he'd make a hell of a pro volleyball player. A lot of professional male tennis players are very tall. I mean, he'd be even taller than some, but a lot of them are in that 6'4", 6'6" range. Mm-hmm. He's clearly, knows how to be an athlete, but I do wonder if there's other things in his life that he was actually also good at, that because he's still a young guy, you know what I mean? Whether or not he wants to still be a professional athlete or whatever, but he's still a young enough guy that he could do something different. But yeah, I agree. It just, a few fights, I've just felt like, and again, no pun intended, that his heart wasn't totally in it. I know after he did have that heart condition, it was very scary. Also, he had to, I believe it was his father had passed away. Like, he's been through a lot of hard times. So, it's tough. But also, on that card, Corey Anderson did get a good win over Glover Teixeira. And, Corey's one of those guys. He's a real nice guy, real good dude. And now he's really climbing the most takedown record in light heavyweight history. Now it's got like Rashad and then Ryan Bader. I think Corey might be in there with more than John Jones even now or something. Or if not, I might be mistaken. But just a guy that consistently puts in work. He climbs and then he sometimes takes 2 steps back. Take one and take a couple back. But I think that's a really solid win for him. And Glover's never easy.
Yeah, you said it. Glover's a really solid victory. A good feather in his cap. And I don't remember what the final number was, but I remember in the third round them saying that he had taken Glover down already 9 times.
Wow.
And I think his previous record, which was against the other wrestler with the gap in the teeth, can't remember his name, but that was like a 12 takedowns in that fight, his previous fight. Mm-hmm. So, man, he's making a name for himself. He's already a name. Yeah. But now he's starting to set records. He's taking down very tough opponents. He's out wrestling the better wrestlers, as we talked about one podcast already. And now he's taking out tough guys like Glover as well. So he's doing well. He's got a lot of momentum. And he seems to be getting better and better. His hands look really good as of lately as well. Not only is he out wrestling guys, to take down a guy 9 to 10 to 11 times in one fight and outbox him is super impressive. Yeah. Usually it's one or the other. You're just laying on a guy and you're blanketing a guy. But he's laying on guys, taking them down. When they get back up, he puts the hands on them again. Yeah. So his hands are helping set up the takedowns, and everything's firing for him.
And it's tough too because with Glover, similar situation too with Shogun. We see these guys who, even though Shogun in actual years is not very old, in fight years, obviously his body is tired, and as good as you are, time catches up to you, and maybe that's just it with Glover now. I mean, it sucks because he didn't get to the UFC till he was older, but time catches up, and these younger guys, they just start shifting the pendulum and winning the fights, Yeah.
You said Shogun's name before the fight. Somebody on Messenger texts me like, hey, who you got, Shogun or Smith or whatever.
Right.
And I said, man, I'm thinking about it. I'm not sure. It kind of depends which Shogun shows up. Yeah. And his reply was, man, this is I said, I think Smith would be the safer bet.
Right.
And he kind of argued with, we were going back and forth. And he said, man, this is Shogun who knocked out so-and-so. I think he can knock out Smith. And then I also thought, but this is also the Shogun who's gotten knocked out by so many people and doesn't take punches as well. And because of that, I'm going to go with Smith. I think he's a safer bet because he's a young lion. He's got a tremendous amount of fights, actually. Smith is his
a heck of a lot.
Yeah, he's like 33-13 was his record. Yeah. But he's a younger guy, and he's not showing any signs of slowing down. And sure enough, as soon as he touched Shogun, you saw the Shogun was visibly shaken by it. He went in for the kill, landed that beautiful elbow at the end, and was able to put him away on his feet, knocked him out on his feet, which is pretty impressive. But it just shows that, Shogun is a guy that he's still dangerous in the offense, but when it comes to the defense, he doesn't take the shots quite as well.
Yeah, and it's hard because, Shogun's always been one of my favorite fighters, and I hate to see newbies or younger, fans that don't have a sense of his history really kind of dismissing who he is and being really, sort of disrespectful about the way they talk about him as a fight. I mean, this guy is a legend. I mean, he's been in so many wars and stuff that he will always have to, I think, command respect. I mean, obviously now he's in the Hall of Fame for the fight with Dan Henderson. That said, though, when the fight started, it didn't take too long where I was like, you know what, Anthony it's that whole thing. It's that age thing. Anthony's just younger, faster, stronger at this point. And it looked, it seemed to me pretty quickly. I mean, I know the fight wasn't very long, but it just seemed already, that Anthony was going to just have all these advantages in there. And we know that he did, basically the same thing to Rashad. And then, so I said something like, hey, it's really, you got to keep your eyes out for Anthony. It's nice to have this, fresher talent. And then people are like, yeah, but he just beat up two old dudes. And so, yeah, granted, Anthony beat two fighters who were champions, and those are huge, huge, huge accomplishments for him. But granted, he didn't fight Rashad at his best and Shogun at his best. But that said, I think Anthony is something to get, kind of start supporting this guy. I mean, he can fight at light heavy. He can fight at middleweight. Obviously he's got a lot of fights. He's not a perfect fighter yet, but I like to see some fresh blood in there.
Yeah, and I think his stock is tremendously up because not only did he perform in his last two fights, beating two former champions in a pretty close timeline. I mean, he had fought, a month or two ago?
Yeah, it really wasn't long ago.
Wasn't long ago. He beat Rashad Evans, jumped back in, took a last-minute main event against a former champion, puts him away in impressive form. So he helped the UFC out by coming and taking this fight. Then he gets on the microphone and calls out Gustafsson in L.A. 2 weeks later. That's what the UFC loves. That's not happening anymore, but that would have been amazing if he would have been able to fight Gustafsson on pay-per-view, coming off of two knockout victories with the momentum that he has. Man, it shows you that this guy is focused on fighting. He's focused on winning, making money. He doesn't care about the sideline, the other distractions.
Yeah.
The UFC has got to love that about him, and fans as well. The fans that are saying, like you said, that he beat two guys that aren't in their prime. Well, look, he's calling out Gustafsson, and Gustafsson is the cream of the crop. This guy's young. This guy's dangerous. This guy's always the number one or two guy.
Yeah.
And Smith is ready for him. So I'm impressed with him, man. I'm a guy that's going to be really watching him close on his next fight.
Yeah, and it's funny because you bring up Gustafsson, and I don't know if you've been watching your boy from Lafayette, D.C. He and Gus going back and forth. And, Alex really wants to fight, D.C. again. But now Alex had to pull out of his fight here, at 227. I guess they're saying it's an injury that won't take too long to heal, which is a good thing. I think that's, really kind of been the frustrating thing about Alexander is he is so good, but has been inactive, due to injury. But if I'm being honest, I got to side with D.C. in that whole discussion. Like, he has nothing. D.C. has no reason to fight Alexander again. He already beat him. And in the meantime, when he listed off all the other people that he's beaten, since Alex has, just had a couple of fights, in the meantime, DC has beaten former champions, beaten Anderson Silva, beaten, Rumble, beat, whatever, and heavyweight champion now, double champion. Yeah, if I'm DC also, I'm like, I don't need to fight him again. And I love Alexander being vocal about that desire, but I don't think it's going to happen.
No, me neither. Why would he? I mean, look, DC's already said it. He's got a couple months left in his fighting career. He wants the big fights. He deserves it. DC is arguably the hottest commodity and the hottest fighter in fighting right now. I mean, everybody wants a piece of him at the moment because he's the guy. He's the guy, man. He's the guy carrying the UFC at the moment. And why would you go back and run it again with somebody that you beat for 5 rounds when you're here trying to make history in the last 1 or 2 fights that you might have left in your career? Gustafsson's a guy, like I said, he's the cream of the crop, but he's not hot right now. He hasn't done anything as of lately to prove that. Where DC, he said, look, I want a big name. I want a Brock Lesnar. I want a John Jones. I want a super fight. Plus, he's coming. He's waiting for his injury, his broken hand to heal as well. But agreed. Why go back? And that doesn't change your history. If I'm in DC's position, and I think my entire life has been devoted to being a combat athlete, and in a couple months, this chapter of my life, it's done. I'm closing this book forever in terms of competing. And I maybe have 1 or 2 more fights. If I'm in DC's position, I'm trying to cement my legacy forever. He's
Yeah.
already in that position where people are saying, is he the greatest? Is he the GOAT because of what he's done? If he could do more to add to that conversation, to that argument that's going on right now, then I would do so with certain names, and capitalize on certain fights that make you a lot of money. And Gustafsson is a solid guy, but he's not in that argument of guys that are going to help cement the legacy any further or make him that huge payday that he wants. So DC's in control 100% right now.
Yeah, I think so. You know, it's funny too because just today they announced some other great matchups along the way. I don't know, you know, I kind of love Yoel Romero versus Bohashina.
Yeah, I don't think it's confirmed, but it looks like it's happening.
Well, I think so. I mean, in that one, I got Romero in that fight.
Battle of the physiques.
I know, that's what you're saying. Like, that's the fight where it's just like, don't miss that weigh-in, don't miss those stare downs. They should title it "This One's for the Ladies" or whatever. But I think that one is exciting. But I'm curious what your take is. Your division, Darren Till getting the shot against Woodley, and stripping Colby Covington of the interim title. What do you say about it, Alan?
Karyn, what a weird position you put me in, Karyn Bryant, to defend Colby Covington. If I don't know if I'm defending Colby Covington, but
I actually missed. Wait, not to interrupt, but I don't even know what exactly the injury was or whatever. Like I said, I was probably 3 margaritas deep, and I happened to flip through Twitter, and I saw something that Tyron was saying, oh, now you have to blow your nose, you can't fight me, and this, and I don't even know what the injury or the issue is, to be totally honest with you. So if you do know, maybe explain, because I kind of missed it.
I don't know, and I don't think he's said anything about it publicly yet, and that's why no one knows, and that's why he's been so silent as of lately, because I think he's been injured, so he doesn't want to run his mouth. And look, if you ask me, what was the weakest belt in the UFC right now? The weakest belt. I would say it'd be a tie. It'd be a tie between Colby Covington's interim title, because it just didn't, to me, seem like a real title fight, and the women's Ultimate Fighter.
Strawweight. Yeah, with Nico, because she won and then got hurt, so we really haven't seen activity with the belt.
Right. Isn't she fighting Shevchenko?
She is going to fight her, yeah.
Right. So those are the two weakest belts. So. Yes, I find that Colby's belt was kind of a weak title earning, but he didn't fight that long ago. And then to get a guy like Till, we've already. I don't want to open this box back up, but a guy that missed weight numerous times, the guy that in my eyes lost his last fight, and to reward him a title shot after that and strip the interim guy who, I mean. It's just a weird situation. There's really no right or wrong answer because I can't remember the last time that Tyron fought, so he needs to fight. But then the interim guy's hurt, and now you're giving a guy like Till that can't even make weight the shot.
But they stripped Tony Ferguson of his interim belt because he got hurt. And to me, that one was more offensive because clearly Tony Ferguson has put in the work. Clearly, to me, in my mind, Tony was a real champion to me. He is. I don't think Colby fought the right person to earn that real title of champion. That's just how I feel about that one. Not to say he didn't do a great job in that fight against Damian, but to me, that was not a champion fight. Do you know what I mean?
RDA.
RDA. RDA is a champion level guy, and he did do a great job with that. But at the same time, that felt like an unnecessary interim title to me. Do you know what I mean? That one.
It felt like number 3 versus number 4, and we'll give him a belt or something. It didn't feel like a championship fight. Yeah.
But even though I too thought that Wonder Boy had actually edged out Darren Till, I guess I'm okay with that fight because Darren is more deserving than Colby in my eyes. I mean, Colby didn't be Wonder Boy. You know what I mean? I mean, RDA is very good, but I don't know. I think Darren is in a way more deserving, but the fact that he doesn't make weight, I have an issue with.
And I'm not trying to see Wonder Boy 3 versus Woodley, so it's like
what are you gonna do?
Yeah, it's a weird position. It's just it doesn't make sense, but it's kind of like what are you gonna do? And, part of the reason to blame is you, Tyron Woodley. Where are you at, Tyron Woodley?
Yeah.
Because you were so damn inactive, and it caused all this stir up and stuff. So I'm calling you out, Tyron Woodley.
But he was hurt.
I'm hurting myself right now. My bad.
No, he's good. But I mean, the thing about it is he was hurt. He had shoulders. I mean, it's not like he was just out there sitting there kicking back doing nothing. Like, he was injured.
I know.
You know what I mean?
Again, I say it all the time, but the nature of our sport. We're in a combat sport, and we train so hard, we get injured, and then when you don't have productivity from a champion, you have to do an interim title to make things exciting, and then these interim guys are getting hurt. And then it really causes a trickle effect down the line. And that's what we're seeing now in the welterweight division and the lightweight division, where trickle effect from too many belts, too many injuries, trying to keep the momentum going, trying to have too many fights too frequently.
So the last thing I saw, I think it was Okamoto was saying that Dana said, like, you know, Colby gets to keep the title until, like, the second that fight starts between Tyron and Darren. And then he's stripped. So, like, the question is he going to try to make that White House visit to Trump with his belt before the bell rings? I mean, you know.
What does that mean? Does that mean, like, call all your sponsors and get that money before you're not the champion? And
well, I guess they just mean they won't strip him now because, as we know, somebody could get hurt. That fight might not actually happen, right? So until, you know, we actually see Tyron and Darren in there squaring off, knowing that the fight is actually on, I think it's just more of like that kind of thing, a semantic thing. Because if they stripped him now, and then let's say one of them got hurt, and then then what do you do? Now do you just reinstate him as the interim champ? I mean, I know that's kind of weirdness has happened before, but you know, it's
crazy. It's loony. I know.
It's nuts. I feel like there was one other fight announcement that was kind of intriguing. But anyway, I'm not sure what it is.
There was a couple. There was they added to the New York card.
They're talking. Yeah, they're talking about Weidman Rockhold.
Weidman Rockhold got added along with the Bohashinya fight, and then they also announced Cowboy versus Mike Perry.
I actually like that fight a lot.
I like it, but I can't lie. I'll be honest. I'm jealous. Because I feel like Mike Perry got to fight on the pay-per-view and get that cool fight against Felder, and then right away they give him anytime you fight Cowboy, it puts you in the limelight. You know, fighting Cowboy is kind of just an honor, just because he is a legend, you know, and they're never gonna put Cowboy in some fight patch. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And it's on the 25th anniversary card in Colorado, I believe.
Yeah. When
I saw the news, I can't lie, I was kind of like,
I know it sucks.
Why am I not in Germany beating somebody up and then saying I want to be on this card?
Right.
You can't do it when you're injured. So part of the fight game. But that was another big fight announcement. They've been dropping a lot of fights as of lately. I feel like they're trying to fill up the end of the year as of lately.
Well, and it's interesting too because, you know, obviously for a long time, Cowboy was a Jackson Wink guy. Mike Perry's been there now.
Yeah.
So, I mean, mostly it seems like Cowboy's doing his own thing these days, but that I found a little bit interesting. But I like that fight because I don't know, it's crowd pleasing, you know. But
heaven, I mean, is Jackson or Winklejohn? Neither one of those men would dare stand on the opposite side of the octagon against Cowboy.
I don't think so.
Not for Mike Perry, especially.
Not for Mike Perry, who's been there for one fight camp.
Right. So I'm assuming it said business is business. Mike, we accept you here. Go and do your camp in Florida.
Right.
But then now does Jackson Winklejohn corner Cowboy against Mike Perry and then go back to – this is really going to be business as usual. Like you said, Cowboy does kind of do his own thing at his camp, but he still has his coaches at his side. This is going to get a little tricky. But then again, you know, his last fight was against Felder, Felder's a former Jackson Winklejohn guy as well. So it could get interesting. I'd like to see some of the lead up to that fight.
Yeah, I do as well. Well, listen, we were talking about DC before, folks. He is coming back for UFC tonight this week. We are going to be giving him, a hero's welcome there and stuff like that. So I will try to film some of that myself. But he is coming back for UFC tonight, and this weekend I'm going up to Calgary. as we have the Fox card. And your other boy, Dustin Poirier, going to work against Eddie Alvarez. G. Allen Jouban of Lafayette, Louisiana. Who you taking in this fight?
Go Philly, go Philly.
Yeah, right?
Underground
King.
Yeah, obviously I'm taking my guy Poirier, but man, when you say, like, you know, when you hear the words "let's run it back," I can't think of a more deserving fight for that title of "let's run it back" again than these two. These two guys, not only was it a tremendous fight, two of the best fighters in the UFC, but they're also going for that title of the most dangerous man in the UFC. They both have that most violent man in the UFC. Thank you. And both of them are very deserving and violent gentlemen. It's awesome, man. What a great fight. What a great card it is, just all together, man. I mean, with Joanna on the card, there's a bunch of good fights on that card. That's a little hidden gem right there.
Yeah, I'm excited. And that one, in case people don't remember, that one's just on Big Fox. So it's quote-unquote free, as long as you got a TV and some rabbit ears or whatever. Man, Eddie's so good. Eddie is so good. And that other fight was going well for Dustin, but they were both getting their licks in. And, you know, a lot of people talk about Eddie, whether he intentionally threw those knees to find a way out of the fight and this and that, or was Dustin mad because he didn't get the freebie DQ win. And so there's a lot going on. And I thought for a while, a long time ago, I'd run into Dustin not long after that fight. And he said, yeah, we're going to run it back. And then it seemed like that fight really kind of got away from those guys. They were doing other things. And it didn't look like it was going to happen. So I'm excited about it. I'm not sure who to take in that one. They're both so good, and we've seen both times when both of those guys stick to their game plans, they're so.
Yeah.
So I mean, I really don't know in that one.
It really could go either way.
Yeah.
The one X factor that I see in the fight, that I don't know if it's going to have too much to play. I highly doubt it will have any part in the fight. But just putting it out there is that they're both good wrestlers. They both are going to predominantly throw hands, and that will be the majority of the strikes will come from the boxing. But Dustin Poirier has the submission advantage. You don't really see Eddie Alvarez using submissions. He will take guys down, and he will try to throw punches, and a lot of times it allows guys to get back up. He's not really a dominant wrestler. He's more of a punch to take down, punch, they get back up type wrestler. Whereas Poirier, if he gets on top of Eddie, definitely could submit Eddie Alvarez. And so I give him that little X factor in the fight. But on the feet, it really could go in either way. These guys are so evenly matched up in all the other areas. Yeah,
it's going to be a great one. Also, Jose Aldo and Jeremy Stephens. And, you know, people, it's kind of one of those which Aldo shows up questions, you know, is what people usually like to ask. And, you know, Jeremy Stephens has been so good. And lately, Jeremy Stephens has been adding in those low leg kicks. And that used to be Jose's thing. You know what I mean? And then lately we've seen Jose not necessarily throw as many leg kicks and stuff. So I, too, am very curious which Jose shows up. He's always been one of my favorite fighters to watch. Like I've always said back in the day, you looked at Jose Aldo like 3 years ago, 4 years ago, I was like, if I was a fighter, that's how I'd want to fight. You know what I mean? He was just such a badass. Always just such an incredible fighter. And I hope old Jose shows up, because if old Jose is there, he and Jeremy are going to put on an incredible fight, because Jeremy's really good.
100%. Two things in that fight: which Jose shows up, as you said, and then for me, if I had to take, even if the good Jose showed up, I'm kind of leaning towards the momentum that Stephens has. He has such great momentum. He's been winning all his fights, fighting back to back, and he's been adding facets to his game, like you said, now with the low kicks and other things, and he's just getting better as he goes, and we haven't been able to say that for Jose, so I'm gonna lean for Jeremy in this fight, unfortunately.
And you know, it's the closest Jeremy has been to a title shot, really. I mean, it's incredible, because it's like his 10th year in the UFC or whatever, and now is when he's peaking and getting close to a title shot. So I agree with you, positive momentum is a true force. But by that same token, I was reading something, I just saw a little bit of a headline, but, you know, Aldo was saying something like, not wishing Max Holloway any sort of ill, but like, if Max is sidelined for quite some time, he sees an easier path back to the title, do you know what I mean, to trying to get back to a title shot. But at this stage of the game, Ortega to me is so hard to beat. Do you know what I mean? That I mean, Ortega could have beaten Max. Do you know what I mean? So it's not like things actually get any easier necessarily at the top if Max isn't there. Although I think Max is incredible and has obviously been so dominant. But it would be interesting. I mean, it could be, this is basically like Jose's last best chance, right? To go for it. So maybe he'll just let it all hang out, right? Because he literally, I mean, the only thing he has to lose is this opportunity. And at this point, if he loses, people will be like, he should retire. And maybe he should. Luckily, he has other things in his life that he can do and own some hamburger franchises and things like that. Like Aldo doesn't need to fight. You know what I mean? I don't think for financial security.
No,
I'll just be sad the day he stops because I love watching him.
Yeah, no, agreed. I don't think he was a champion and dominant for so long. I think he's fine, financially at least, if he has to stop fighting. But the winner of this fight puts himself in a golden opportunity to challenge for the title, or whatever happens next. And who knows who's going to get injured or miss weight or whatever the next time that they try to fight. Next time Max tries to fight again. Mm-hmm. So you always got to be ready in that division.
Yeah, and if Max is sidelined, it could definitely be the winner of this fight versus Ortega for an interim. I mean, it totally could. The other question on who shows up, Joanna's never lost 2 fights in a row. She's fighting Tecia Torres, who to me just keeps getting better and better. Mm-hmm. You asked the same question a year ago, right? A year and a half ago, you'd been like, Joanna all the way. I still think she probably can win, but it's weird. Now, I wonder, how that's going to affect her mindset because, the old Joanna, she was such a beast in there. She was an animal in there, and I hope we don't get that hesitation. She did do a lot against Rose, and I think she won a couple rounds against Rose. I gave her 2 out of 5. But I think I would lean toward Joanna in this fight, but I don't think it's going to be easy.
I would as well. And like you said, Tecia Torres has looked great as of lately. But Joanna's a girl that's shown that she's not easily taken down. She's not easily held down. She's tough to deal with. I think she just kind of met somebody who has her number in Rose,
for sure.
But I think when we go back to this is the type of girls, as good as Tecia Torres is, these are the type of girls that Joanna made her name off of. Yeah. These tough, kind of predominant wrestlers with good hands. She's fought the best of them numerous times, and she's always done well, and I don't see it going any differently in this fight. I think she has more trouble against the girls who are more of a spitting image of her, the taller, lankier strikers. Right. She's not used to being not the better striker out there. So she's fought this type of fight before. She just needs to make the right decisions again and perform on the day of the fight. But with that said, I think she gets the W.
Yeah, because she is going to be so much longer, so much rangier. If she does go back to that stick, pow, 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 get out, that type of thing. It should be great. But, I'm excited. So that's Calgary. Kurt will be doing the Fox part, but I'll be there for the weigh-ins and the pre and post and all that stuff. So I'm getting a free trip to Calgary. I was there a while back. We even got to go to Stampede a little bit like that. So that'll be kind of cool. Definitely looking forward to that. But in the meantime, Alan, I know you're hurt and you can't fight, but your baby girl, your car, your truck, she's a thing of beauty. At least you have something positive to spend your time on, huh?
At least I got to take her out over the weekend. My wife was kind of mad at me because I think I spent all the time with my truck.
Out with Black Betty again, right?
I didn't even come home until 10 o'clock at night. I picked my truck up in the morning. I don't even know what time I got home.
Right.
But I had to bring it back to the shop to get all the adjustments and the interior done. But I'm to go to the August 4th card here in LA at the Staples Center. I'm hoping that me and my wife can enjoy the truck together, drive over there, have a night out in Black Betty together, and enjoy the UFC and relax and everything. Enjoy the truck that night too.
Nice. Yeah, I'm actually really looking forward to that card. I'll be in the studio. Unfortunately, we won't be in Staples, but just thinking about Cody and TJ running it back, I get excited. I love that fight. I love that fight. But, all right, well, cool. Well, on social media, I can be found at KB Heat on Instagram, Karyn Bryant on Twitter. Obviously, we have MMA Heat on all those platforms. And if you go to YouTube /Karyn Bryant, hit the subscribe there. Also subscribe to MMA Heat because we will be, for the time when I'm not in the studio for 227, we'll be on the ground and, we'll be filming all that stuff anyway, too. That's not for a couple weeks. But anyway, in the meantime, I am able to, shoot some stuff sometimes from the set. And like I said, going to Calgary, so it should be fun. So hopefully people can follow me. Alan, where can they find you?
Perfect, guys. Hey, if you can find Karyn, you can find me, guys. It's easy. Alan, Jouban, across the board on everything. I keep it nice and easy. Give me a follow, and thanks for tuning in. I know me and Karyn haven't been in the same room as of lately, just because she's so fancy and she does all these. No. I've been hurt and I've been busy, and she's been doing her thing, and she got a well-deserved vacation. So anyway, after this Dustin Poirier fight, I'm sure we're gonna try to get together.
Yeah, we need to get the band back in person. Yeah.
We'll get the band back together because I'm sure there's going to be a lot to talk about. So we'll have a good next podcast as well for you guys. So make sure you tune in.
Cool. All right. Thanks for tuning in, folks. And thank you, Alan.
Yeah, pleasure. Take care, guys.